Maurice Norris injury update. Another great sign for Detroit Lions defensive back. This is the news Detroit fans needed after a tense start to preseason. The young safety took a scary hit in Week 1 against Atlanta that sent him to the hospital, sparking fears about a deeper setback in a season where every piece of defensive depth counts. But Norris is back on the field, pushing through concussion protocol and showing serious signs of a comeback. Detroit, this is the kind of fight we live for, wearing Honolulu blue, coming out tougher each day. Lions news. Fan report urges you to stay locked in as we break down what this means for the defense and the roster battles heating up at Ford Field. After being released from the hospital, Norris didn't just rejoin teammates, he returned strong, hitting individual and group drills with full pads and helmet on Tuesday. According to Detroit Free Press's Dave Burkett, Norris ran end-zone sprints, did backpedal drills, and though visibly winded during the workout, the fact he pushed through marks a critical step forward. He's still officially in concussion protocol, but head coach Dan Campbell's 10 to 14-day timetable looks realistic, putting a possible return just days after the final preseason game, right before roster decisions. For a team that's still grinding to keep last year's playoff spark alive, having Norris battle back for potential depth at safety means so much. The defense, commanded by Ben Johnson's aggressive schemes, demands smart, reliable coverage. Backs, and Norris showed flashes in camp to be that guy. But here's the wrinkle. Depth in Detroit's secondary is tight right now. With Jaron Kearse and rookie Tarek Woolen taking reps at safety, Norris's return could shake up the pecking order, especially if he proves healthy and ready to tackle late-season physicality. League chatter suggests the Lions are focused on mixing youth with veteran reliability, and Norris's youth combined with his resilience embodies exactly that grit Campbell preaches. This isn't just a workout update, it's a potential spark that keeps defensive coordinator Ben Johnson's plans flexible, allowing more rotation and aggressive coverage packages, critical in a division packed with speedy wideouts like Justin Jefferson and DJ Metcalf. Detroit fans know well that every snap counts, from Barry Sanders' lightning runs decades ago to the grind of last year's playoff surge. And Norris getting back means more weapons and depth ready to stand up when the NFC North heats up again. And that's the catch. Concussion protocol means Norris can't rush this just for the sake of making cuts. Campbell's words are clear. Nice and easy, making sure Norris's health is priority number one amidst intense preseason competition. It's a line every Lions fan should understand all too well. Patience is a hard pill when chasing playoff glory, but necessary to avoid tragic stepbacks. Detroit's defense showed flashes last season, but struggled to close out tough games. Norris returning healthy could be a doorway into more consistent second-level coverage. Given this team's recent history, remember the 0-16 doldrums that tested even the most loyal fans, the way players handle adversity defines Detroit's identity now more than ever. Lions news. Fan report invites every fan at Ford Field and parking lot tailgates to feel the urgency of this comeback. You want a defense that doesn't quit. Norris is making sure he's ready to step back onto the field and fight for every yard. For Detroit, this isn't just about one player coming back. It's about the heart and grit that turned this team into a playoff contender last year, and why we believe in every bounce back. Watching Norris test himself on Tuesday gave hope that the defensive backfield is set to shake off early injuries and hold strong for the battles ahead. Yet this move could ripple deeper than expected. If Norris returns just before final cuts, it forces the front office into a tough choice. Do they keep the depth and risk a roster spot on a player not fully recovered, or release potential insurance for a shaky secondary? This is exactly the kind of behind-the-scenes chess game that defines Detroit's season trajectory. With Minnesota and Green Bay always lurking, these seconds, these drills, these health updates turn Lions' preseason from hopeful to high stakes. Having Norris in the mix is not just about playing time. It's about sending a message to rivals in the NFC North that Detroit's defense is rebuilding with toughness, speed, and smarts. So, Detroit, what does Maurice Norris's return mean for Dan Campbell's defense? Will his comeback push the Lions closer to that feared defensive identity fans have craved since Barry retired and Calvin left? Does Norris's grit shift the Depth chart enough to help the Lions block out the years of heartbreak and prove this team belongs in the playoff conversation again. The roster decisions coming August 27th just got a lot more interesting thanks to this breakthrough. One thing is clear. The heartbeat of Detroit's defense just got stronger, and you better believe the division is paying attention. Stay with us here at Lions News Fan Report, standing where fans bleed Honolulu blue, bringing you updates with every snap, every hit, every comeback. The NFC North won't know what hit them when Maurice Norris steps back on that field. The question now, can he and this Detroit defense hold fast long enough to turn promise into playoff reality? This is where Lions legends are made, because if Maurice Norris can come back and prove he's healthy, it transforms our entire defensive outlook at the absolute worst time. The secondary's tightrope walk just got a lifeline, but that's the decision that could swing the season. Do we risk rushing him back and bet on resilience, or play it safe and leave a gaping hole that faster, division rival wideouts like Jefferson and Metcalf will exploit? Detroit's front office faces a high-stakes chess match. Norris's return, if viable, could create a seismic ripple, forcing the coaches to juggle roster spots, potentially sacrificing a promising young player or veteran insurance when every game against Minnesota or Green Bay is a shot at supremacy. And as we chase every ounce of defensive toughness from Ford Field to Lambeau, remember this. Our last playoff push was built on grit, not luck. Norris, with his youth and resilience, embodies that grit, and his snap count in the coming weeks could decide if we compete or get stuck in the mud. The weight of this comeback isn't just stats or roster depth, it's about restoring a battered identity that was ripped apart during last year's heartbreaker. Insider chatter suggests the Lions are eyeing him as a game-changer, but injury protocols can be cruel. So a return before next week really isn't a guarantee. Coach Campbell's words echo the cautious tone. Nice and easy. That means patience, but every Lions fan knows patience is adrenaline on hold, especially when division rivals are sharpening their teeth. As we look deeper, Norris's impact could open up Liberty's aggressive scheme, giving Ben Johnson more coverage versatility needed to stifle Rodgers and Cousins, both of whom love quick throws and big plays. The clock is ticking. Final roster. Cuts loom on August 27th, and this injury gamble could be the difference between a roster upgrade and an unnecessary gamble. The question isn't just about safety, it's about cutting a hero short or unleashing a wild card in our playoff chase. And considering the Lions' history, never shy of heartbreak and comeback stories, this moment feels like do or die. Norris's fight is emblematic of Detroit's resilience. Every hit, every comeback, every single snap counts towards turning last year's flash of promise into this year's reality. But make no mistake, if he's forced back too early, it could rip the locker room apart. Guys like Kearse and Woolen are already getting reps. Do they hold their ground, or does Norris's return shake up the secondary chemistry? We've seen what happens when trust frays at the edges, and the NFC North isn't waiting. The seismic challenge? If Norris makes the roster after all this drama, it's not just about depth. It's a message that Detroit's defensive grit is catching fire, and the rest of the division better be paying attention. The season's mantle hangs in the balance. Do we roll the dice and see if Norris can be our secret weapon, or do we settle for what's safe, risking a late-season collapse? Every decision, every snap, every recovery shapes the narrative. Detroit's Isig last playoff run taught us that resilience can defy all odds. So if Norris's comeback can breathe new life into a secondary that struggled under pressure, then maybe, just maybe, this team is destined for more than just hope. It's primed for chaos in the NFL's new order. And the final question, is this comeback the spark that inspires us all, Joe Louis style, ready to fight for every inch, or another chapter in the saga of what-ifs that haunted Detroit since Sanders and Megatron rode into the sunset? That roster spot, that waiting game, that division on the prowl, every Lions fan hears it. This season hinges on grit, not just talent. Norris's return could be the moment that defines not just our defense, but our entire playoff fate. The clock's ticking. Will we gamble it all for the hero comeback, or play it safe and risk missing the playoffs again? Because if Detroit's history teaches us anything, it's that heart can bloom from the toughest scars. This is the Lions' moment to prove they're more than a team of might-have-beens. Let's get real. The NFC North isn't catching us, slipping this year. Norris, if healthy, might be the secret ingredient in our playoff recipe. So buckle up, because this race just got a whole lot more intense, and Ford Field's roar will be deafening if he suits up at the right moment. This isn't just about one player, folks. It's about reclaiming everything we fought for: glory in blue, grit in the trenches, and the black and blue toughness that defines Detroit football. Now, the final call. We're riding a razor's edge, and every snap, every wobble, every hope hangs tight. Norris's comeback isn't just a story, it's the season on the line, and if he can be the spark we need, Detroit's future gets a whole lot brighter. So what's it gonna be? Keep watching, because when Norris hits that field, it's not just a return. It's the heartbeat of Detroit's fight back to the top. And Detroit faithful, remember this: it's only in Detroit that we turn every setback into a rallying cry. And right now, that cry is for Norris to lead us back from the brink, fuel our fury, and give the NFC North a taste of Honolulu Blue Thunder. The question: are we ready to roll the dice, or are we destined to repeat history's mistakes? The season's future is in the balance, so let's see if Norris's grit can light the fire, because this city's heart beats for moments like this, and we're damn sure not going down without a fight.